Alright, welcome back to another video. You guys don't seem to be sick of the Steam Deck stuff yet, so I'm back again with another Steam Deck video. A lot of you guys have been requesting emulation stuff and other topics, and I do already have stuff prepared, and I plan to get it up within, a week or so. But this is just in the meantime. So I've had it for about 2 months, and I've had plenty of time with it to experience the good stuff that it has to offer, as well as some of the bad stuff that it has to offer. So this video is not meant to deter anyone from getting a Steam Deck by any means. I still love my Steam Deck, and I still prefer to play on my Steam Deck over my custom gaming PC most of the time. This is just to highlight a few of the issues that kind of, just aggravated me a little bit, but aren't a deal breaker. So the first thing that I don't like about this thing, actually the reason that I decided to sit down to make this video today, very frequently the SD card reader just stops working. It's not the SD card going bad, like I can put any SD card in it and it just won't detect it. So I'll open it and most of my games are on my 1TB SD card. So whenever I click on it, it'll say not installed and I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then I click install and then it only shows the internal storage, which I have the 64 gig model, so can't really install much onto that. The only way to fix this, I've found, is just fully restarting the system, and then it boots back up and detects the SD card like nothing ever happened. Now this might be because I'm on the beta client of SteamOS. Also might just be the actual hardware being finicky. But that's the thing that's aggravating me the most. Probably 5 to 10 times it's happened, and restarting the Steam Deck fixes it, but it's a weird issue to have. I plan on upgrading the internal SSD sooner or later to kind of mitigate this issue, but yeah, it is kind of aggravating. Now, another thing that I don't really love about the Steam Deck is the display. Now, don't get me wrong, the display actually looks half decent, but whenever you put it next to OLED displays or even the new Steam Deck OLED, you can tell that the color accuracy is not great. And on any dark scenes, I don't really know if it'll show up on camera, but there's typically like light bleed around the edge of the screen, and overall it's just not the best quality display. That's probably why they came out with the Steam Deck OLED. Now this is plenty vibrant and colorful enough. I honestly prefer the screen over the Switch's screen, the size and all that, but I feel like the actual tuning of the display, the actual capabilities of the display, they're not great. But like I said, a lot of these things aren't deal breakers. I still play my Steam Deck more than my desktop. Something else to be aware of with the Steam Deck is battery life. Right now I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 on the Steam Deck preset. And on the OLED Steam Deck you get more battery life, but this is the OG. 94% charge. We have about an hour and a half of estimated battery life. Now on the OLED it'll be 2 to 2.5 hours probably. Now don't get me wrong, I'll probably get bored of the game before the battery runs out, but it just means that you still have to charge it more often. But like I said, this display looks fine, and actually on camera it looks much darker than it does in person. Like the scene doesn't look this dark, like it's a little bit of detail, it kind of showing up dim on camera. Like I said, the screen is fine. It just doesn't seem like the highest quality screen. Another thing that I don't really like about the Steam Deck is the trackpad keyboard. So you see how whenever I move my thumbs around, it goes over letters, and it seems like it would be really cool and really intuitive to type stuff up. Well, if I try to type Cyberpunk, you start having misinputs, and it's entirely too sensitive, I find, and you accidentally click letters that you didn't mean to click. Like if I want to click on F, I might accidentally click V or C on the way to F, just because of how pressure sensitive it is. I don't know if that's something that can be changed with the update, like how sensitive it is. But I find that typing with like the keyboard like this is near impossible. You may as well just reach over and use your fingers on the touchscreen. And another thing that's kind of a little irritating about the Steam Deck is the fan noise. Now, I've heard much louder gaming laptops and regular laptops, but compared to the Switch, it's definitely audible. Honestly, I have no clue if you guys can hear that or not, but the fan is kind of ramped up right now, even though it's on idle. And the fan does get a little whiny, and yeah, it ramps up. It's akin to a gaming laptop, as far as hardware, so it makes sense. But yeah, that's one of the major improvements with the new OLED. It runs cooler as well as quieter, so you don't really have to worry about all the noise from the fan. So in addition to fan noise, another thing that some people might find a little irritating is temperatures. Right now we're just in Cyberpunk 2077 on the Steam Deck preset, and we're sitting at 81, 82 degrees. Now this isn't overheating by any means, but the ideal range is probably 60 to 70. That's probably where you'd like to be. Now this is only on really high demand games and it ramps up this high, and of course whenever it ramps up this high, you start draining your battery much faster. And another thing that's not great is game support. Now pretty much every game from my Steam library is perfectly fine, all the stuff that I play. I have some emulators and stuff installed and all that works perfectly fine, to be honest with you. But a select few games, Call of Duty being the most notable, simply don't work on the Steam Deck. However, this is because of the Steam OS architecture, you know, like the operating system. If you'd install Windows on the Steam Deck, you could play Call of Duty. But Windows gets worse performance on the Steam Deck as opposed to Steam OS. All the other competitors in this space, like the ROG Ally and the Legion Go, they all run Windows. And the performance is better than the Steam Deck because they have much faster hardware, but Steam OS does get you better performance on the same hardware as opposed to Windows. And another major issue that I've had, I don't think it has anything to do with the beta update because I switched to the beta update after this kept happening. Every time that I would switch to desktop mode, I would switch to desktop mode, do whatever. Emulators, play games on desktop mode, whatever. Whenever I'd hit switch to gaming mode, the Steam Deck pretty much every time crashes. And then it says, oh, recovering files or whatever. And then after a few minutes, it boots back into gaming mode. We'll give it a shot right now, but it'll probably behave. But typically, it crashes pretty reliably switching between gaming and desktop mode. I'm not too sure why. Then I hit return to gaming mode. Yep. What did I say? So, this doesn't happen every time, but it happens pretty reliably. Switching between desktop and gaming mode, it crashes and has to verify the installation. It doesn't always do that. I originally thought that was just part of switching between desktop and gaming mode. No. That's whenever it crashes. It doesn't do that all the time. I would like to know if there's a fix for that. Drop a comment down below. And the last thing is, if I have a game downloading and I put the Steam Deck to sleep, it stops the game download. Now, I made a recent video on how to download games on your Steam Deck while the screen is off, and you guys really seem to enjoy that. But there's just little finicky things like that, and little crashing issues here and there. I don't know if it's the fault of the hardware or Linux or what. Now, do I still use my Steam Deck all the time? Absolutely. But it is a finicky piece of hardware, to be honest with you. So that's just some of the things that I don't particularly love about my Valve Steam Deck. Let me know down below if you have any of these same issues with your Steam Deck. And stay tuned for the videos next week. I got some more stuff lined up. And that's all for me. I'm out. Peace.